Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Nelson, I'm the Living Card Gamer, and today we are talking about my top 5 favorite heroes to play in Marvel Champions. Alrighty, before we get into it, if you could like this video, subscribe to the channel. It goes so far in helping this channel, and I just would really appreciate it, so thank you. Also, these are my favorite heroes, not necessarily the strongest heroes of Marvel Champions, that's a whole nother discussion, but these are my top 5 favorite heroes to play. Alright, without further ado, let's just get into it, right? So, in 5th place, we have Nebula. So, Nebula was not necessarily a hero that I thought that I was going to enjoy all of that much. She was fun, but where she really shined is when I started playing her in a multiplayer game. So D20 Woodworking and I have been playing through the Mad Titan Shadow with Nebula Gamora. I've been playing Nebula, and that playthrough is really what has catapulted her into this top 5 spot. She has kind of built around these cards called technique upgrades, and they give you a passive benefits like retaliate or a +1 to your stats, and then at the start of your turn in hero form you get to trigger the special ability of all of those. So like evasive maneuvering, you get to stun or confuse a hero, or I'm sorry, a villain, and or like a weapons master, you get to deal 4 damage to an enemy, and that they're just really fun to kind of set up and build. She has a really good alter ego ability, so whenever she's an alter ego, the first time you play a technique upgrade on your turn, you get to draw 2 cards, so it's really rewarding you for playing those techniques, and it's also making you want to be an alter ego fairly often. Because she wants to be an alter ego fairly often, her favorite aspect, or my favorite aspect to play with her at least, is justice. So when you're in alter ego, the villain will be scheming against you and putting a lot of threat on the main scheme. So if you have a way via justice to deal with that added threat, then you can use her techniques to do the damage or do whatever else you want to do. My favorite thing to do with Nebula is one of her cards called Lethal Intent. So Lethal Intent is a X cost card where however much you pay for it is how many technique upgrades on the table you get to activate. So you can play them in alter ego, flip up, and then play a Lethal Intent and activate them. But what really made her great is when you have a teammate call on an action and you play Lethal Intent from your hand before it is your turn, and you have to activate and discard them. So say you have 2 weapons masters on the table, each one of them is going to be doing 4 damage to a enemy once it becomes your turn. Call on an action, pay the 2 cost, trigger Lethal Intent, and then weapons master twice, dealing 8 damage. Then when it gets over to your turn, deal 8 more damage. That's a lot of damage. There's a lot of flexibility with Nebula, especially in a multiplayer. Alrighty, so in 4th place we have my favorite superhero of all time, Spider-Man. So Spider-Man comes from the core box. He's been around Marvel Champions a long time, and he has a 1, 2, 3 stat line in hero form. When I see that 3 stat line, I get really excited as a protection player, because that means that I'm probably going to be able to run a pretty effective perfect defense build, and that's exactly what I like to do with Spider-Man. The other really great thing about running protection in Spider-Man is while he's in hero form, he has a 5 hand size, but anytime the villain initiates an attack against him, he gets to draw a card. And so that makes it so that he can have basically a 6 hand size in hero form, which is just incredible. With this 3 defense, and you can bump it up to 4 with an armored vest, there's going to be a lot of times where you're just not going to be taking damage. However, he does have Aunt May, who does an incredible job of healing him whenever he does need to flip down. He also has a great alter ego ability where he can generate a mental resource to just help build a little bit. So all around, Spider-Man is a fantastic hero that I really love playing. Already in 3rd place, we have the Master of Illusion, Drax. So Drax has 14 health, 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 defense. And it's not the most exciting stat line I've ever seen, but he does want to be attacked, and he gets stronger every time he's attacked. So when he gets attacked, he gets a vengeance counter, and that gives him +1 attack to a maximum of +3. So that 1-1-2 stat line very quickly becomes a 1-4-2 stat line. And then also if you ever have 3 vengeance counters and the villain attacks you, then you get to draw a card, which kind of offsets his limiting 4 hand size. Because he has 14 health, he can survive a long time. Throw in Mantis, which is his signature ally, who can heal him for 3 by using her action, probably about twice. If you can extend her life a little bit, it can heal her for longer. But you're probably going to be sitting in hero form a lot, taking a lot of hits. But if you ever do run into a situation where you're running out of a lot of health, health, you are able to flip over to Alter Ego form. You have to discard all of your vengeance counter at that point, and then you get to heal for 2 per vengeance counter. So he has that parachute and that ability to kind of, get him out of trouble. His best aspect, I really love playing him in Aggression. So Aggression is fun because of how much damage he can really put out. So there are a lot of cards now that allow the villain to attack you, and which will trigger his ability and add that vengeance counter. And so in Aggression, I'm thinking of like Toe to Toe. So Toe to Toe is a 1-cost event. The villain attacks you, you get a vengeance counter, and then you deal 5 damage back to the villain, and then you're able to swing right at him. Some of the fun stuff that I like to do with Drax is really just getting his attack as high as possible and then exploiting it. So you run like the 3 vengeance counters. He has an upgrade called Drax's Knife, which gives him +1 attack. You run combat training. He's already swinging for 6. There are other ways to pump that up, and then just finding out ways to ready him. So like a Fight Me Coward, which is another one of his cards. He just the villain initiates an attack, then you get to ready yourself and you can just throw it right back. Payback is a fun card where whenever the villain attacks you, you can deal damage back equal to the attack, your attack. And so there's just so much damage that can come out of Drax. He is going to struggle with thwarting, so either make sure that you're deck building around a way to increase his thwart potential, or have someone else at the table that's going to be able to figure that out for you. Alrighty, in second place is the smallest character on my list, Rocket Raccoon. So Rocket is one of the heroes that the first time I played him, I actually didn't like him at all. I really disliked how Rocket played, and that's because I don't think I really understood him. So his hero ability says that every time he does excess damage to an enemy, he gets to draw a card. I thought that was once per round. It is not. You can do that as many times as you want. And his alter ability is to discard a tech upgrade, which Rocket has so many weapons. I mean, it's Rocket, right? So he has so many of these weapons that he's going to be putting down, and you're going to want to discard them at some point to put more weapons down because you only have 2 restricted slots. His Alter Ego ability allows you to discard one of those cards and then draw 2 cards. And so that's a really exciting Alter Ego ability because you get the 2 card draw. And what really makes it great is the other thing that I was misunderstanding with him. So with uses, so like a lot of cards have uses, those cards will then be discarded once they are finished, once you've used up the last use. He has a lot of cards that have charges. The cards with charges are not removed from play after you've used the last charge. So you can have your cake and eat it too, right? You can use all the charges on your cards and then flip down to Alter Ego, discard it, draw 2 cards. I really like Rocket. He's just kind of a really fun. He can be kind of squishy. He has 9 health, but there's a couple ways to mitigate that with like Thruster Boots and Cybernetic Skeleton, so you can really kind of get around that. Rocket's best aspect is Aggression, and that's because it highlights what he is best at, and that's killing minions. So it's so much fun to grab a bunch of minions using cards like Looking for Trouble or Get Over Here. He does have access to Aerial via his Thruster Boots, and then use, like a Bring It, draw a ton of cards, and then, systematically just kill every single one of them, drawing a card every single time you kill, and very soon you're gonna end up with a hand size like 10, and there's just so many paths that he can go down after he does that. I really love running him against Ultron. Like, that's probably my favorite thing to do with Rocket, just because Ultron puts out a lot of these very annoying low health minions that Rocket just goes to town on. So killing all of the Ultron drones allows him to draw cards, and whenever I'm having a bad day, I throw Ultron and Rocket on the table, and that always brightens the mood. Alrighty, we have gotten to the top of the list. My favorite hero of all time at this time in Marvel Champions is Quicksilver. So Quicksilver has the ability to ready himself once per phase after he performs a basic action. This makes Quicksilver so versatile. So I play a lot of solo Marvel Champions, and Quicksilver shines in solo play because he can do pretty much everything. 1/1/1 stat line that he has kind of gets a lot better when you realize that that's kind of like a 2/2, or he can defend twice stat line, and that, it allows for so much flexibility. It allows him to do whatever the table needs him to do, which is why I really like him. He also has an upgrade in his signature cards that can bump each one of those stats up 1, and then whatever you're running, say you're running like Justice, you can run a Heroic Intuition and bump his thwart up to 3, and then he's, you know, thwarting for 6 every hero phase. My favorite aspect with Quicksilver is protection. I love protection. I love Quicksilver and protection mainly because he gets to ready after he defends. Because he gets to use his ability once per phase, not once per round, which is a key distinction here. He gets to always defend. So even if you're not running protection, you should be defending every single round because it's just basically it's a free defense. With his upgrade with Armored Vest, he's running with 3 defense, and it's just a lot of fun to defend and then ready yourself for the player phase, or you can defend for multiple people at the table. My favorite thing to do with Quicksilver is just getting all of the extra stat bonuses. So like Combat Reflexes, Heroic Intuition, Armored Vest, bumping those stats up really is doubled in a Quicksilver deck, right? Because he's able to use at least the Combat Reflexes and Heroic Intuition twice each round, so you're getting double the benefit out of those cards. I would go so far as, like, if you have, say you're playing a Justice Quicksilver, have the aggression player run a Combat Reflexes for you, so maybe run 2 copies, and then have them throw it on you. And so, because you can play it under any player, you can just kind of beef up all of his stats and just go crazy and be super flexible and be whatever the table needs. I think we need to talk about Friction Resistance before we stop talking about Quicksilver, and so this, in my opinion, may be one of the best cards in the game. I think it's definitely one of my favorite cards in the game. It's a 3-cost upgrade that generates a physical resource, and which is okay, right? My favorite thing about this card is that whenever you ready Quicksilver, you also get to ready Friction Resistance. So because you're readying at least once every single time in the hero phase, you get to use Friction Resistance to pay for a card, thwart, ready, and then you have it again. And you have cards like Always Be Running, which is going to ready Quicksilver, so you can get multiple uses out of this, out of Friction Resistance. And it was one of those that I didn't quite understand the benefit until I actually got it onto the table and started utilizing it and just having a lot of fun. It's also very great in protection because a lot of your defense events are 1 cost, and you get to ready right after that. So basically free defense events. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 Marvel Champions heroes as of right now. So we're putting out so much, I guess we're not, but you know, FFG is putting out so much awesome content for this game, and we're consistently getting new heroes, more exciting aspect cards, which are breathing life into the older heroes. And so this list will change. I plan on doing new videos every once in a while, updating my top 5s, because it's going to be different a year from now. I can guarantee you that. What are your top 5 favorite heroes? What is your favorite hero? Leave a comment below. Let me know. I'm super interested. I like to hear, because everyone has different playstyles. Everyone likes different heroes. So let me know. Or if you want to, you can go and click the link in the description and join our Discord. So we have a community of people who love living card games. We talk about Marvel Champions, Lord of the Rings, and Arkham Horror mainly, but we talk about some other games as well. And it's just a really awesome community, a really helpful community, a really fun community that we would love to have you a part of. So thank you all so much for hanging out. I will see you very soon, and happy gaming. Cheers.